Walk into almost any corporate boardroom today to discuss intelligence operations, and executives will inevitably ask, what AI platform should we be using? It is exactly the wrong question to start with. In corporate investigations, adopting artificial intelligence cannot be treated as a standard software procurement exercise. Buying a license to a powerful large language model does not inherently make a firm smarter or faster. Instead, effective AI integration engages an organizational capability. It requires a complete teardown and rebuild of the operational workflow. Firms create massive operational risk when they attempt to use AI as a simple bolt-on efficiency tool. Dropping a probabilistic text generator on top of an outdated manual investigative process guarantees friction, missed evidence, and unverified outputs. Competitive advantage belongs to those who structurally redesign the investigative pipeline around AI, creating systems that leverage machine speed while tightly preserving human accountability. Corporate investigators are trained from day one to operate with rigorous skepticism. Their entire profession relies on verifying, corroborating, and documenting hard facts. Because of that training, the industry's initial reaction to AI has been binary. The prevailing logic assumes that if an AI model is capable of hallucinating or fabricating information, it has zero place in evidence gathering. That mindset misinterprets the engineering challenge. The precise framing should be, because the model can be wrong, we are required to engineer strict verification loops to control it. Artificial intelligence does not replace investigative reasoning. When constrained by proper architecture, it acts as a high-powered multiplier, synthesizing data so the human investigator can focus on strategy. The objective is not to sit on the sidelines waiting for a flawless, hallucination-free model to be invented. The objective is to build operational workflows right now that extract the model's leverage while neutralizing its errors. To build those workflows, firms must stop asking if AI can broadly help with an investigation. The process must be fractured down into distinct operational phases. This horizontal pipeline maps the 9 stages of a modern investigation. We start with intake and allegation triage, followed by data collection, document review, pattern detection, interview preparation, timeline reconstruction, report drafting, quality control, and finally the executive briefing. Every phase carries a unique risk profile. Notice how the first 3 nodes, intake, data collection, and document review, light up in blue. These early phases involve sorting massive volumes of data, making them highly suited for heavy AI delegation. By contrast, terminal phases like quality control and the executive briefing turn orange. These require absolute human authority. Applying a one-size-fits-all AI approach across this entire board is where firms guarantee failure. A safe integration requires assigning a specific ratio of probabilistic AI logic to deterministic human judgment for every individual node on the pipeline. We also need to dismantle the myth that generative AI is a single tool. Matching the right system architecture to the right investigative task is critical. Consider open source intelligence, or OSINT. This workflow requires investigators to map a subject's digital footprint across broad open web datasets and multiple global jurisdictions. On the left side of this architecture split screen, we see the reality of open source intelligence. Casting a wide net into the open web drastically increases the probability that the model will pull false connections, creating a high hallucination risk. Now, compare that to an internal corporate review, processing highly sensitive internal records. To process that data safely, the right side shows a retrieval augmented generation, or RAG, architecture. It restricts the AI model to a strict, walled garden of approved documents. By locking the model inside that vault, the closed corpus approach starves the AI of outside noise, drastically reducing fabrication risk. Assigning the wrong model architecture to a specific phase is the primary catalyst for catastrophic investigative failure. The consequences of professionals blindly relying on unverified AI outputs are no longer theoretical. In litigation cases like Mata v. Avianca and Johnson v. Dunn, attorneys faced severe judicial reprimand and sanctions for submitting court filings containing AI-fabricated citations. Corporate investigations face parallel, though quieter, risks. An internal misconduct report built on unverified AR summaries triggers immediate regulatory scrutiny, shareholder litigation, and irreversible damage to a firm's credibility. To eliminate that risk, we bring back our 9-stage pipeline and lower a mandatory human-in-the-loop validation mesh over the entire workflow. This architecture doesn't mean manually redoing the machine's work. It means operating 3 specific filtration protocols. First, the system requires AI-generated confidence scoring, forcing the model to mathematically weigh its own certainty on every conclusion it drafts. Second, we run cross-model verification. An independent secondary AI model is deployed specifically to audit and challenge the outputs generated by the primary model. Finally, the system enforces mandatory fact source traceability. Every generated claim must be permanently tethered back to an original, human-verified document. In a properly structured firm, the AI provides the acceleration to synthesize data. The human review provides the absolute authorization for intelligence. Implementing these validation pipelines permanently alters the daily operational roles of intelligence professionals. Investigators transition away from manual drafting and basic research. Their primary focus shifts toward designing context packages and strategically prompting models for precise insights. Analysts transition from manually collecting and reading individual documents to structuring vast datasets and building out these AI-assisted review pipelines. Managers evolve from simply approving a final written product to architecting the comprehensive review protocols and maintaining the audit trails that prove the investigation's rigor. By pushing the repetitive sorting tasks to the machine, the firm successfully elevates its human talent, directing their energy entirely toward high-level strategic interpretation. The largest remaining obstacle to AI adoption in corporate intelligence isn't technical. It is the deeply ingrained cultural hesitation of rigorous professionals who are uncomfortable trusting probabilistic systems. But resisting these systems out of a desire for traditional perfection is an unviable strategy. The industry is already integrating this technology. Competitors are actively deploying these models to sort internal data, construct event timelines, and map entities in a fraction of the standard time. Rival firms are already building the systemic architecture to control and correct model errors. Firms that refuse to adapt will find themselves outpaced by those who have mastered the process of automated verification. AI errors are failures of process design. When investigative workflows are rebuilt around verification, the technology scales human insight without sacrificing human accountability.